The shockwaves from a major diplomatic standoff between Canada and India are spreading after Ottawa expelled Indian officials over the killing of a Sikh separatist leader on Canadian soil last year. India has rejected accusations that it was involved in his death and has sent home Canada's top diplomat and 5 others in return. Well, Veena Najibullah is from the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada. That's a non-profit organisation that promotes Canadian relations with Asia. She joins us from Montreal. Welcome to DW. As we've heard, India rejects those Canadian allegations that it was behind the killing of the Sikh separatist leader. India says Canada is smearing India for political gain. What do you make of that?
Yes, as you mentioned, that this has now gone on for a few days, and their stories from Canada and India are absolutely diametrically opposed. Canada, at the highest level, our Prime Minister has gone public to say that Canada has credible evidence, irrefutable evidence, linking Government of India agents to a number of violent crimes in Canada, not just one killing, as your report mentioned, but the revelations that were shared on Monday of this week, both through the Canadian police and also Canadian Prime Minister, state that it is a much bigger campaign of transnational repression with direct involvement from Government of India's agents. These are, of course, serious, unprecedented allegations that have now caused a diplomatic dispute between the two countries, which have serious implications for Canada's national security as well as public safety. India completely rejects this. And of course, now the question becomes what evidence can be made public, at what time frame. This is an ongoing investigation, criminal investigation in Canada, so there are some limits to what can be shared. But Canada says, and has been saying for the last few days, that it has shared all of this evidence with India directly.
All right. Important, though, for us outside, especially dealing with Canada as an open democracy. It's one thing for the Canadian government to say we have irrefutable proof. As you say, it has not been presented. We only have their word for it.
Yes, it hasn't been presented publicly, but again, Canadian government officials have been saying that they've presented this information privately to India at every level, including most recently at a meeting that took place.
With this particular case, though, all right, Canada says your guys did this. Canada says we have presented you with the evidence. India says we haven't seen this evidence.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously from a diplomatic perspective, that's the issue. But I think one of the reasons why Canadian government has gone public, at least that's what they say, is because there is an imminent threat to public safety. What has been extraordinary about the latest development is not just that a murder took place last year that is under investigation, but that according to Canadian officials, both police as well as the Prime Minister and other government ministers, there is an ongoing threat to public safety, that in fact violence has increased over the last year, and there is evidence of direct involvement from the Government of India. So I think the issue here is it's not just about the diplomatic element of it, which is of course really important and has grabbed international headlines. But if one is to believe what the Prime Minister of Canada, a democratically elected leader of a G7 country, is saying, he's essentially saying there's an ongoing public safety threat to Canadians, particularly Indo-Canadians.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Veena Najibullah from the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada.